MJF seemingly not going to WWE in 2024, and got some bad news, y'all. Bad news for MJF fans coming out of Full Gear. That and much, much more in this video right here, because MJF is a polarizing guy. Whether you like him as a heel, a baby face, whether you think that he's overrated or underrated, whether you think he's the best thing going in AEW right now, something that I believe. I think he has saved that show in many, many ways in that product. His babyface turn after years of being a heel has been a welcome change, but everyone knows that he's got some interest from WB. So is he headed towards the rival company in 2024 when his contract expires in early 2024? I believe it's in January, but I could be wrong on that. Either way, he's talked about this numerous times, whether it's a situation where they're in an interview, whether it's a promo, whatever it is, he's brought up the fact that he is willing to go wherever pays him the most. If it's AEW, he's going. If it's WB, he's going. That's where he's going. But since turning babyface, he's cut back on his talk of his contract status. And this has people thinking, well, what's going on with MJF? Well, Nick Hausman of House of Wrestling reported today that he's actually heard from several WB sources who believe that MJF has quietly re-signed with AEW, with one higher up in WB's source stating that there have been zero talks between the two sides. This same source also thinks the idea of MJF entering free agency imminently is a false narrative, and that they believe that he has re-signed into 2027 with AEW. Another source said that it was all in MJF's head storyline-wise in regards to could he or could he not go to WB in 2024. 1,000%, another WB source stated. I was told a while ago he is under a long-term deal, which is why they stopped pushing the 2024 stuff, the same source stated. And we're going to keep the train rolling. MJF obviously retained the World Heavyweight title over Jay White at the 2023 Full Gear pay-per-view event. And just to finish up on his contract status, look, I don't think MJF is leaving AEW. I agree with these sources where, look, if he was going to go, he would continuously bring this up. But since he's a babyface, since he likely resigned, he's not going to bring it up no more. It doesn't make any sense for him to bring it up anymore, because you were getting heat from AEW fans by bringing up the fact that you could leave, right? So I think he has resigned, so I would agree with that. Also, WrestlePurist actually reported this news, which one piece of information was actually confirmed by Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, which notes that MJF hurt his hip in the match with Jay White during the match, and he needed it to be popped back into place after the show. He also has a banged up shoulder, but the good news is he's not expected to miss any time. However, he will be taking some time off in the ring just to heal up. So he'll stay on TV, he just won't wrestle as much, which is really not that big of a deal considering he doesn't really wrestle that much right now. So what else? But I will say this. Due to the storyline injury caused to his quad/knee based off of the attack from the Guns on the pre-show, in the pre-show match, or after the pre-show match actually, that was storyline. The hip, the shoulder, he suffered in the match, during the match, okay? Real injury. Shoulder, hip injuries are real. That is something that he dealt with during real-time match, okay? I actually had some blowback from some people on social in regards to my report about that. During the match, okay? Just want to make that clear. People read headlines, I guess. Whatever. Also, look, the good news is this. He's not going to be out of action for that long period of time, right? That's great, great news. AEW needs someone like MJF on television right now. I was actually going to do a video about this, but I'll just break it down here, which is AEW needs MJF because in the last year or so, AEW has really, really dropped off in terms of popularity among fans, right? attendance is down, television ratings are somewhat down, interest is down, engagement is down. There's a lot of declines in AEW going on right now. But at a time where they've lost CM Punk and Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks have kind of taken a step back, if you really think about it, on television, at least in terms of the main event scene, MJF has elevated himself, and he has gone from a heel persona, being the most hated guy in all of pro wrestling, to one of the most beloved guys as a babyface in all of wrestling. His pairing with Adam Cole has been tremendous, and it was unfortunate while they were ROH Tag Team Champions that Adam Cole suffered an injury, broke his ankle, had to have 2 surgeries because of said broken ankle, and is now sidelined, although obviously he has been appearing on AEW television through segments. And he was obviously at Full Gear this past Saturday night. But MJF is a guy that has really carried the brand on his back for the last year, right? Especially, I mean, he's been world champion for over a year as of the recording of this video, and really stepped up when the company needed him, because CM Punk was a cash cow for them. And following All Out Brawl Out, people don't point this out, but that's really when AEW's interest started to go downhill, because there was a black guy on the promotion, and all the newer fans who liked Punk, you know, they were either turned off by Punk or they didn't tune in because Punk wasn't on television. I mean, they went through a slump when Punk was off television due to his surgery when he broke his foot. So, like, there's a parallel there. And yes, AEW's product has gone downhill a little bit. It's not as exciting. Yes, they still have great matches, but stories tell business metrics. They just do. If you have good stories and bad wrestling, you can succeed. The Attitude Era was that in a nutshell. WWE, WCW, they always had good, well, they didn't always, but when they had good storylines, what happened? Business went up, ratings went up, business metrics across the board, whether it be ratings, merch, engagement, ticket sales, whatevs, that went up. And when you have great wrestling but bad storylines, or mediocre storylines, or storylines that just don't interest people, what happens? Your business goes downhill. The interest in your business goes downhill. All your key business metrics, in which I just touched upon, go downhill. And so really, if you take MJF out of AEW right now, you take him off television right now, what do you have with AEW? What makes you want to tune into AEW? Now, I stated this on Twitter that I thought the feud between Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland heading into Full Gear, heading into their Texas Death Match, was what sold the pay-per-view. And I think that's a little overstated now in retrospect, because obviously MJF's impact on the business and everything like that. But that feud going into that pay-per-view was very, very intriguing to me. That was the match that I was looking forward to the most. I actually liked the build to the match. I mean, their go-home promo was phenomenal. So I think that's also something you have to consider as well.